Hello and welcome to another episode of BeamNG.Rally. Today our first car will be the 1000 series in the rally version. Yes, that you see it, that's like supposed to be a 750 Peugeot. Now, of course, the 750 Peugeot was as well a rally car, and this car tries to be as well a rally car and then fails on the bridge. Now, going again here, a little bit on the bump, and then just getting murdered, at least the back getting completely, utterly murdered by the rock. And then rolling down here, losing parts of the car, but except the condenser, many cars just stay composed mostly when they crash and don't throw parts around. Interestingly, where the battery stays in the front, which just floats around. It's something that you will be seeing a lot when looking at these clips. Again, here in the canyon, losing the back end, then hitting the side and flipping the car over. Yeah, that's not really healthy. Not really what you want to do. So, coming out of the first corner, losing the back end, and then a rock throws it down the right hand side. But it stays directly under the bridge. Now here again, going off the track and then just rolling the car on its roof. Yes, that's not very good. And the engine is tough for it, of course. Here, losing the back end and then just, yeah, not crashing, just turning the car around. It was really, and here rolling the car just randomly. Yeah, that happened as well. Yes, the car had some problems with control of the back end. It just sometimes let off. Again, you can see the battery sticking out there in front, and here going fully for a drift, but with a little bit too low speed, and then I can't myself understand why I stopped that run, because that was relatively calm of a mistake. Here, running down here, and then making it, it's like nearly the RC car of twistiness or rolliness down here, like how it spins itself around its longitudinal axis or X. And for some reason a tower was still alive at that point and deflated itself at that point. Yeah, it was more one clusterfuck of metal than anything else. Here a little bit damaging the car, but then going for the roll finally, rolling backwards before the car ends on a rock. And it still rolled on its wheels back. Again, down this canyon here, losing the back end. Back end wants to overtake, and at the end, the back end doesn't win. The car just hits a ditch before the back end can overtake it. Yes, back end, you won't win. Here, this jump caught off many cars, but here we are going way too far to the right side and then rolling the car over its own front. Not going for a full front flip, but throwing it a little bit over its own front is always nice in my book. Here, a little bit sideways, and then it just goes for many rolls. These cars are just rolling, and I should stop really using this word nearly, because I can't make any funny puns out of it anymore without referencing myself too often. Here the front lights go away because I think I'm going again off the rock face, but I'm not. I'm just failing to get a corner. Here the car gets completely sideways and has way too much grip for the sideways moment, and it just flips around. And nearly I let it roll down here, but the car itself stabilizes it by putting it into the beetle position. Now again, rolling down the canyon. I should just stop using the word again. Here, going for a little bit of sideways. Yes, sideways rolls. Very sideways. And it can't stop itself, it just keeps on rolling. Yeah. Kind of destroyed. But at some point it will stop, and again you could see the battery. Now finally we've got the successful run of the condenser. Oh, not the condenser. Why I'm saying this is a condenser. And if you're asking yourself what the thrusters are, that's some sort of nitro, which I tried out later, but I didn't use it in the run because it's mapped to a keyboard button and I'm playing with a controller. Yes, I'm a controller peasant. I'm playing racing games with controller. I don't own a steering wheel. I don't have money to throw around. I'm not heating my room with bills. I'm not that rich. I'm a rich kid, but not that rich. Well, I'm not that much of a money waster. Yeah, going into this corner again. Front lines just saying, nope, I don't want to be here. When you crash. A little bit on the inside. Going nearly up to 100, but just barely missing out on that. Going down here. With a little bit slower over that bump, but you can't really push it much further than that because it's not really successful to do that. Now rolling down this section with a little bit more caution, again trying not to wreck the cars immediately. Going into that corner. Again, the very vicious bumps, I take them very slow. Still nearly losing the back end. Going towards the final section of the track. And again, back end wants to flee, but we will be taking it over the line in a normal order. Yes, the car did it. Finally. Or less finally, because it didn't need that much time. I mean, we had cars that took longer, we had cars that took less time. And then trying to go for backwards donuts, but again, this place is really bad for making anything. Except crashing stuff into trees. And rolling it into trees. That as well. Because, fuck, I'm rolling stuff into trees all the time. Because I just do that stuff. And there isn't much anymore to say, then I haven't cut this footage out. I should do more cutting. So, next up is the Bolide. Yes, but not the normal version of the Bolide. We are taking a modded version of the Bolide, which is the Offroad car mod. Yes, and what better way than trying something that's completely a race car into a rally version? Or better said, it's off-road version. It's the off-road car mod. But it's just, I will say to you immediately, it's horrible. And you're seeing this thing just behaves like the Formula 1 car. Okay. And I'm even saying it behaves worse than the Formula 1 car on this ground. Here, throwing the thing off the rock, losing its tailgate. Most cars have, in their off-road version, their splitter or tail removed, but this car still has it. Just, I mean, it has all its lights back in there, so you still kind of need it. And this like engine hood, which is all this engine riffle stuff, it's just like how it sticks out. It's like a little bit funny, and it stops the car at the end. Now here the car already very bouncy, and just bounces all over the place. It's like it looks like it's not on real springs. The suspension is on these old, and that's just beautiful. This car just completely utterly flat. I mean, it's horrific, but this car just pancake completely. Was that just excellent? And here me again running right into this pillar. Just a boring one of the accidents. Here over the bridge and flattened the tire. But at least I caught a better set. Here losing the back end before even hitting the pyramid, and then resting the car before it falls down. I mean, we at least saved here. Here into the start of the canyon, this little bump unsettles the car so much, and it just rolls over and then goes into the beetle position. Here the back end just bounces away, and then the back end takes control over the car. It isn't like this car suffers from snappy oversteer, it's just the back end wants to overtake again, which showcases that the suspension is very bad of this car. Here going off-roading, I mean it's off-road version, but not that kind of off-roading that I want, especially that off-roading that ends into the scenery. Here going for the slowest roll ever, and then for some reason losing a wheel, because that's, I think, the problem. Here way too sideways. It's like the worst omen that you can have. I mean, the best omen that you can have is from HP, aka not sponsored. I'm not using one and I'm not buying one. Just making a joke with it. Rolling down this hill, again, it's like, it kind of looks fine, the car, but again, it's completely bent up, and it looks really ugly with this really big wheels. And as I am saying, the suspension is really bad of this car. Just kangaroo times 10. No, a kangaroo would be, yes, it jumps high like a kangaroo, but it's more like a trampoline. You're jumping in it, and you're jumping like relatively the same amount out, and this thing just does this. It barely slows down. It just bounces and bounces and bounces, and keeping it under control with this isn't easy, and especially if it starts to go into a hyper bouncing mode and just lifts the back end off a meter. So here just running a little bit to the right, and then seeing you go left. I think that's also a lecture. Going too much right means you're going left, or at least ending up left. Could be a story for the political system. I don't know what the message of this crash is, but you can tell me down in the comment section if you would rather comment. Here the car gets a little bit unsettled, bounces backwards, and then beaches itself on a rock before it makes a slow roll, and then says, well, I want to go downwards. It's like all objects in the universe, it wants to go into the least energetic position, and going down the hill is a pretty good way of doing that. Here again around the corner, and not really going around the corner because I'm going a little bit too much to the inside. And here running a little bit wide of the first corner, and then turning the car around. Not ideal. Again, it's a corner running way too wide, but still getting the car stopped. Canyon, turning the car around, and then I think I could have just run to the finish line in the back in reverse if the car hadn't flipped in this super dramatic scenery. And again, something running wide, going over the jump, going sideways, and then rolling backwards. Yes, the car thinks I should finish the race in the reverse gear, and here getting rolling, but keeping the car with dancing on its tail really still onto the ledge. Nearly fallen down. Here, just you seeing how much bounce, how this car bounces around. You're taking a jump and it just starts bounce, 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 bounce. It's like some of the some balls that exist that you could just throw down and it fly up very high. This car is just the same, and here you can see this pancake car, and it's kind of satisfying how freaking difficult this car is to see it fully wrecked. I mean, it's not fully wrecked, but the game doesn't allow fully wrecked car. It says an instability detected. Here, losing the back ends and just then giving up the run because fuck it, I fucked it up again. Another tire being flattened, but this time I can successfully get it over the bridge and stop it. And another tire popped. Yeah, that's like not ideal. Here into the car killing turn, and this banking turns the car around. It doesn't kill the car immediately, but it just turns it around and it's pointing in the wrong direction. In the canyon, the back end just gone up high. Any other really good rally car, when it gone up that much, that high, it wouldn't have been easy to control it. And another tire destroyed. But this time it catches off the car and throws it to the left. Any other car that's relatively good rallying, that's flown up that high and got down there, it would have bounced a little bit, but this thing just goes to the same height up, and you're completely losing control. The back end tries to overtake again, and you're fucked. There isn't like anything else, and at least you're seeing what I mean, screen. Here, running a little bit wide, and this rock that killed the RC car kills this car as well. Here, this jump again, back end way too bouncy. You can't take it with so much speed because the back just again running wide. It's like it looks like I've copied the footage. And finally, we're getting this god awful car down here. Yes, I'm saying this car is god awful to drive. I think if I would just take the standard Bolide and drive it down here, or the race version even of this Bolide, I would still be faster than this edition. I think I will try this out soon, but for the moment we only have the special off-road version of it. Yes, it's just really, 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 really annoying. Going into the next corner, into the hairpin, coming up the hill, and it starts bouncing even here. It's just this thing. It's just like a car built on springs. I mean, sure, every car has a suspension, very likely out of spring, but this thing is just bouncy, bounce, 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 bounce. I get it that you need far traveling distances for wheels, but this thing it doesn't have a much higher. Okay, it has a higher height, ride height, so it doesn't get easily beached. But the problem with this car would be that you don't have much suspension travel because the wheels are so freaking big, and I think that's the main problem with this car. If I would give it more suspension travel, like the RGA packs that you watched last episode, then this car would very likely could perform a little bit better, because it wouldn't be that much about that bouncy, because I think it has less suspension travel than the freaking Formula 1. So that's not like ideal, because the Formula 1 doesn't even have any suspension travel. And think about it, if you would clean dunes in the desert, like really off-roading, this thing would kill you immediately for doing that. This would like bounce around and it just throw itself into the scenery. No thanks, that's like not ideal. Even the RC car, which was really hard to drive, this thing just... Okay, it doesn't throw it, if you drive a little bit off the road, it doesn't kill it immediately, which was the problem with the RC car. But this thing is, you need really to constrain, and the time as well represents what this card stands for. Just completely, utterly stupid. Or better said, just completely bad. Here trying to go for donuts, but just that thing doesn't have any power. Yeah. So, for the fastest time, the 1000 series is faster than the Bolide with 1 minute 59 seconds, 340 milliseconds, and needing 17 runs to complete the track. It just barely gets beaten by the covered by 310 milliseconds, and even less margin beats the Roma with 60 milliseconds, and through this moves into 4th place. Now, the Bolide, on the other hand, needs 2 minutes, 30 seconds, and 630 milliseconds, beating the RC car by round about 2 minutes, but not being even close to the GL83 with 8 seconds till this car. The Bolide needs 35 runs to get down the hill and moves through this into 13th place. Now, next episode we will be driving down here a truck. Yes, a truck. And to not miss this episode, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on minds.com, and join my Telegram channel. Links below in the description.